Hello, everybody. So let's see. I'm just gonna do a practice little video here because Lord knows this is not gonna show up anywhere. Um, the power of manifestation and how we limit ourselves. Um, it's pretty powerful. So I can share a story about what I've been trying to manifest lately. And as far as my company and my life and all of that goes. And obviously, one of the biggest ones is financial stability or abundant wealth. Do I just want to be financially stable, or would I love to be rolling in the dough? Well, of course, I want to roll in the dough. Fortunately, I want to do so that I can give it back into the community and help other people. Um, I already have contracts with the universe of what I feel is appropriate for me to accept and keep for myself and my family. And anytime that I go above and beyond that goes into the world through donations and scholarships and different things like that. So the last year and a half has been incredibly difficult with Tim moving out and separating, and he still hasn't been feeling well. I really let myself go. Like I focused a ton on like the spiritual side and that growth and releasing a lot of the belief systems and traumas and this and that. However, I didn't stay balanced, so I let my physical health deteriorate greatly. And in doing so, with all the emotional work that I've been doing, it's been a rough year. But it's been an amazing year. So much clarity, so much letting go, and kind of getting back to the snarky, fun, goofy, nerdy woman that I am and am proud of. Kind of finding my way back in that regard. So then, God, there's a whole series of stories that we could talk about in that regard of as we go through holistic awakening and really investigate all aspects of our lives, we bring a lot of things to the surface and we start to recognize so much about ourselves and kind of where whatever. I don't believe we ever step off our past. I really don't believe that. I think that's ego. I think ego allows us to choose to say, oh, yeah, that didn't go so good. So, that's when you weren't paying attention. That's when you stepped off your path and you started going. Well, you might not have been paying attention, but I don't necessarily agree that we stepped off our path, because when you hear people talk about that, it's always in regards to the perceived negative, always in regards to the perceived fuck up, right? So they don't say that, and you never hear that when it's all about the great stuff and all the progress you've made and when things are going well and this and that. So my belief, I guess, is we're always on the path, yet we're not always aware. I think as children, we innately are aware. We innately are in tune to ourselves and honor ourselves. As we get older and we allow other influences to begin fostering our realities, we may lose sight of that, and we might lose that awareness that is absolutely necessary um, to achieve a really balanced and joyful life. And so then we go through kind of this need to awaken and this need to kind of reevaluate everything. And more times than not, we find Um, we go through a lot of stages, but one that's kind of really can be very challenging and difficult to go through or get through is where you've kind of gone through this rebirth. Like you've recognized all the ahas and all the things you were doing that you don't feel wonderful about or that you didn't understand. And, now you found grace for yourself and you've found an ability to, excuse me, recognize and honor that. But through the enlightenment, you now know, like, for me, my humor, my joy, my laughter, my entertaining of other people was always to my own demise. I was very self deprecating in my humor. I would always throw whatever, what self deprecation is. So it was always picking on myself and always making fun of myself and always not being enough. Um, and people would, eat that up. Great. It's wonderful. And I would do it to other people, slam them, so forth. So then as I was going through all of this and I, like, oh, our thoughts really matter and our language really matters and what we think and feel and say in our everyday lives, like, really matters. So then I couldn't, like, well, how do I joke around? How do I have fun? How do I have joy if I know that I can't make fun of myself? Like, really? It's like, but we do. We go through this conscious rebirth and we hyperanalyze every single thing. I can't tell you you're not going to go through that. I can't tell you that that's going to be an easy stage to get through. What I can tell you is it's not uncommon. You're not the only one who ever has to go through that. And when we start to come out the other side of that, we start to see that child, that inner child in us again. I've noticed in myself and in speaking with a lot of other people, they end up so much more closely related to who they were when they were a child, just with maybe more adult and appropriate recognition around everything. But the concept is still that freedom and joy and laughter and fun child that we were before we were told we couldn't be, like, ah. So anyway, I'm not even sure where this all started, but that's kind of where I am. I'm in that immersion and trying to get physically okay again. Been there. I know I'll do it. I know I'll be okay. I know I'll end up there, which is why I don't show up on here when I'm doing really, really bad. But that's not fair either. And that's kind of what happened in the last 6 weeks is I had some very beautiful souls reach out on a couple of my posts on Facebook, one of which really hit me. But many of them did. And it was this, you're doing so great. It's so great to see how far you've come and all of this. And I have. I have come a really, really long way. And I'm so incredibly happy and proud of myself for what I have achieved so far. But it's not as great as everyone seems to think. And that, to me, is a failure on my part because it's really about showing up exactly as we are and being who we are and offering love and support and asking for love and support. And everything I'm about is authenticity and vulnerability and don't go it alone and, heal out loud, use your voice, all of this stuff. And I recognize that I And then in many aspects of my practice and what I share in healing and coaching and consulting is incredibly hypocritical. So it's just, it's time, it's time for all of us to just show up authentically and be here and be for one another. No judgments, the good, the bad, the ugly. And the other aspect of it for me is I don't show up asking for help. And I've gone through some of the most horrendous events and experiences and times alone, the majority of them alone. But I've also celebrated tons of victories, tons of beautiful moments alone as well. So I think that is a big it's going to be something that gets worked on in 2019. So anyway, don't know if anybody will ever see this, but if you do, thank you. Peace. I appreciate you. Namaste.